I've always been a person who's just been attracted to hair. I like to sit and think and theorize on how I can do something, how I can manifest these visions that I have for braiding, and how I can take something that may seem like it's a line drawing in my mind and apply that to someone's scalp. The passion for creating the work has always propelled me.
We are the only culture that has hair that grows out of our head the way that it does. Anyone from the African diaspora is born with this amazingly curly hair that can be shaped into a variety of different ways of expression.
My work is hoping to promote Black self-love, and I want Black people to love themselves for how they naturally appear, and also to appreciate the cultural practices such as braiding that our ancestors have practiced for centuries. Shani Crowe is the person here before you, resident of Chicago's South Side, lifelong hair braider, a lover of Black people, and hopefully a promoter of Black unity. I'm an interdisciplinary artist. I use braiding, fibers, beading, anything that I can really get my hands on to express my ideas. Working with thousands of cowrie shells, tens of thousands of pony beads right now. I have the patience for that. I like to sit in silence and just kind of be. I started to do my own hair between the ages of like 10 and 11. And then I started to get clients between the ages of 11 and 12.
Shani! Hi. I was gonna ring the door, but shoes off.
Yes.
Right this way, dear.
There are a lot of style motifs that I use. Like I use a lot of zigzags and spirals in my work. In this particular style, I am doing cornrows, which means the braid will be attached to the client's scalp.
Cornrows. The name came from the agricultural aspects of the work that the slaves were doing. So it might be called cornrow in the US. If you go to the Caribbean, it might be called cane rolls.
And then I knew I wanted to do something a bit more sculptural. And so I went ahead and made a djembe, which is a West African drum, out of some materials that I had at home. I'm going to attach this to the top of her head, and I would cover all of the structural foundation, of course, with the braiding. Your hair is so full and gorgeous.
Thanks so much.
You can't buy this.
This
is great.
Y'all can't get this in the stores.
Right. All right, let's get you shampooed if you follow me to the kitchen.
Okay, let's do it.
First, I washed my client's hair with a moisturizing shampoo. I want to make the hair feel soft and supple. The process of braiding is highly manipulative, and I want to promote like a glide with my fingers as much as possible. From there, we moved back to the chair. I will apply conditioner evenly to each section of their hair and comb out each section. For detangling, I use a wide tooth comb so that I can gently work through the tangles. I put it in a loose twist or braid. I let the hair absorb all that the conditioner has to give. And then I will rinse out all the product. Then I blow dry the hair. Once the hair is all dry, I take a special oil blend that I make myself, and I just put a thin line of oil. The most essential part of the scalp oiling is the massage. That helps to stimulate circulation, which stimulates growth. And it's also a part of my way of trying to create a relaxing and gentle experience for them. So that's a nice step that helps to foster that sort of connection. Black hair is a really strong cultural bond, I believe. Throughout different regions of Africa, there are like so many different hairstyles that people wear to convey certain things about us and our societal position.
Depending on the style you wore, it could indicate which religious sect you belonged to or your role in terms of priest or priestess. It could also be part of the royal family, and you had to wear certain hairstyles. All of these different things, they connote something about your identity. The origin of braids is actually traced back to the African continent, specifically in Egyptian history.
They would shave their heads bald, and then they would use the shaved hair and create these amazing wigs. And oftentimes the wigs were created by braided hairstyles. Black hair is controversial, has been controversial since the very beginning. One of the first things that slave traders did was to cut the hair off, to erase the significance of the tribe that you might have belonged to. And straightening the hair has been in existence now since like the late 1800s. They started off straightening their hair with irons and ironing boards. When you wear your hair in its natural state, it does not fit within the dominant ideal of what beauty is supposed to be.
Being a Black person and not looking put together can sometimes cause harm to you. You kind of have all these different assumptions projected onto you.
People will tell you, no, you're not about to go to a job interview with braids.
Like that, or
you're not about to go to a job interview with your hair natural. You better get a weave or press that shit.
Yeah.
If my job is not to have straight hair, then why is this impacting my ability, my higher ability?
During the civil rights movement and the Black Power movement, Black people decided that they no longer wanted to follow the dominant standard of beauty, and so they decided to just wear their hair the way that it came out of their head. More recently, we've had something called the natural hair movement, which started in the early 2000s, and it's been a lot of Black women have been able to use their hair as a means of, self-love, as a means of self-acceptance.
Black hair is a way that we show love for ourselves and each other. So I'm glad to see Black people be able to embrace styles that just use their natural hair. So after I oiled the model's hair, I go ahead and create the center part. Once I've kind of separated her hair into two sections, I went ahead and roughed out a circle that was about the size of the base of the djembe that I made. In order for it to be balanced, it has to sit in the middle of her head. Once I've established that center circle, I take that hair and I section it off. And then I went back to my center part reference line to create the braid that is in the center of her hair. I then begin to plot out the rest of the part lines. Parting is essential because the parts are the spaces in between the braids that actually define the pattern that you're creating. I'm trying my hardest to get the line as straight as I can, and they're never perfect to me. I don't know what it is. And then I will begin the cornrow portion. As you go, you alternate from side to side, adding and picking up hair as you progress down the part line that you've created. Because I've done it for so long, it's become more of just like a natural motion for me. Because braiding usually takes a lot of time, you're spending hours of your time, hours of your day with your client. And so it's a time for you to chat and connect. Sometimes I play some music, talk about our life. I often light candles and burn incense, altar mix or frankincense. It signals to people in a way that they're entering a more sacred space. My experience growing up in the city of Chicago has been very formative, as anyone's hometown is. Chicago carries a stigma, especially now, one that has been earned for violence. But my upbringing was totally opposite of that. From the time I was an infant, I was totally immersed in a Afrocentric learning environment associated with the Institute for Positive Education. I grew up surrounded by people who I saw as my brothers and sisters, the people who were my peers. The adults around me were my mamas and babas. It was a very strong community, rooted in the fact that we are people of African descent. My friends and I, we actually established a artist collective, a collective of artists, designers, and educators. We did what we could to kind of continue the legacy and environment that we come from, the ideas of Pan-Africanism and togetherness among Black people. This piece is called Suntress. This is the headpiece that the Egyptian goddess Het Heru wears. She usually represents things that are related to like feminine beauty, kind of like joy. I wanted to take these finger waves and elevate them to the highest possible depiction that I could, which is that of a saint. And so I chose to do the kind of flat sun disk kind of aura. Solange and her team reached out to me to recreate one for her Saturday Night Live performance in 2016. It took maybe like 50 hours to complete just because of the beating. I was sitting in the corner beating, I was beating at her rehearsals, I was beating everywhere. This piece, we may fight, we may have our struggles, but above all, and literally above both of them, there is love. So though we may not see eye to eye sometimes as a people, we can all still at our core see each other as brothers and sisters. These negative aspects of Chicago life, especially South Side life, sometimes do rear their ugly heads. Like, you may know someone who was a victim of gun violence, but the community that I come from still serves as like a full support system that I exist in and thrive in today. I want Black people to be able to trust each other. I want Black people to be healthy physically and mentally. And I want those things to be the foundation for great unity. So after I've created pretty much my entire cornrow design, I have a few braids that actually end in a tail. And what I want to do with that tail is add beats to it. I take a tool that I call a beater. I apply the beads first to that, and then I thread the model's loose braid through the loop, and then I'm able to push the beads up. And then I take scissors and trim off the additional hair. So I do this to the 4 braids that are left out in this style. I would then attach the pre-braided djembe headpiece. I would take some hair thread and a curved needle, and I gently sew the hairpiece to the surrounding braids to make sure that it is sturdy and centered, so that it's not adding any additional stress onto the model's head because it is heavy. Now that I have attached my djembe piece, which is the centerpiece of this hairstyle, I must do some finishing steps. I'm going to come through with a setting foam. It kind of sets that style into your hair. I usually add a silk scarf to lay the design down so that it dries in that position. Once I feel that the braids are sufficiently dry and set, I will remove the scarf and reveal the beautiful braid pattern beneath.
My goodness, look at the design. Like, I can't believe that this is my head. Like, I feel like a queen.
The whole time that I'm braiding, I'm thinking, damn, I'm messing it, damn, it's not gonna come out right. Oh wow, this isn't gonna come out right. But then, once I can see all of the effort totally finished, it's the finish line that you've seen in your mind, but now it has been made manifest. And you can see what you've put into it, and you can just bask in the glory of the beauty you created.
Black people oftentimes refer to their hair as their crown.
If you ask, Western society, where's your soul? People point to their chest, right? It's in here. But across a lot of West Africa, you point to the head as the space where the soul rests. It's the top. It's the closest thing to the divine that we get on this side of heaven.
The resurgence of braids among Black people for me has been great. I'm glad to see Black people be able to love themselves and to love the beauty in their natural appearance. It's something that I received as a child, something that has given me a vision to want to promote that, and it's something that I hope my work promotes, that we are stronger together and that through unity we can do so much.